that down, let's talk about this, shall we? Inside Out 2, which I think originally was projected to make $80 to $90 million on its opening weekend, ended up destroying everybody's expectations, made over $150 million on its opening weekend. And then it broke more expectations, joining the $1 billion club. And then it just kept going. And now, today, it's finally happened. According to Deadline, Inside Out 2 has finally passed 2019's Lion King to become the highest grossing animated film of all time, and taking the number 9 spot of the biggest films in history. Inside Out 2. And by the way, just as a side note, I got to throw this out there. Has there ever been a movie that has more quietly crossed the $900 million mark than Despicable Me 4?
Oh, I know. Just kept creeping along.
It just kept going.
Yep.
Just kept going and going.
Wait.
What's that?
Are you kidding me? It's at,
Yeah,
at
Despicable-
900 million?
$900 million.
4. And at first it was like, oh, this thing is going to be kind of a slog, probably stick in the 7s. It's at 915.
900. So good on them. Again, we already talked about how the fact that, Blake Lively's It Ends With Us is approaching $300 million, way overperforming.
Mm-hmm.
The Alien Romulus approaching $300 million, way overperforming. All that kind of stuff. So it's pretty good. But Inside Out 2.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Here's the thing. I mentioned this a lot. I think whenever significant records get broke, we have a tendency as fans to let it become white noise, like, oh, record broke, and we just forget about it. We don't really consider it. I want everybody to think about this for a minute. In a world that we live in where we've had Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast and Frozen and Lion King and any of the other animated films in history that you can think of, we just had one that has now made $1.66 billion at the box office to become the highest grossing animated film in history. Did anybody see that coming for Inside Out 2? Nobody. There were some people who thought, yeah, you know what? I think Inside Out 2 has a chance to be the next $1 billion film.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, like, before the movie came out, I thought we're looking $700, $800, $900 million.
Yeah. I was an early adopter of this movie, if that's even a phrase, but just in terms of, like, I thought this was better than the first. I thought it was going to do great. I was like, don't sleep on this movie. I never thought it would approach $1 billion.
No, and then even when it hit $1 billion, which it couldn't have happened to a better movie, getting another $600 million to catch Lion King seemed very unlikely. I mean, within the realm of possibility, but very unlikely. But it has now done it. And maybe even more remarkable is that it's in the top 10 of the highest grossing films of all time.
Wow. Of all time.
That's all crazy. Time. So obviously, let's go down this list. Yeah. Number 1 is still and will be for a very long time Avatar at $2.9 billion. Avengers Endgame at basically let's call it $2.8 billion. At the other Avatar, 2.3. Titanic at 2.26. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens at 2.07. By the way, Star Wars Episode 7 is number 5 on the all-time worldwide. Domestically, it's still the number 1 film of all time.
Right, at 936.
Like, let me just switch this over to domestic. Star Wars The Force Awakens, as in the North American box office, no film has ever made more money than it, which is pretty impressive, and I don't know when something's going to beat it. Anyway, going back to the worldwide thing here, we got Star Wars Episodes 8, we got Avengers Infinity War at $2.0 billion, Spider-Man No Way Home at 1.9, Jurassic World at 1.67, and Inside Out 2 at 1.667, beating by $5,300,000 the former number 1 animated film of all time, 2019's The Lion King, at the 1.662.
It still has 19 days on its run too.
And yeah, I mean, again, it's crawling the amount of money it's making now, but the highest grossing animated film ever. It's insane. Nobody thought this was going to happen before this movie came out. Nobody. And it's just insane what it's been able to accomplish here. And again, I love that it happened to a truly wonderful film, because sometimes we get films make a whole ton of money that maybe didn't deserve it as much. But this is a totally deserving movie. It's wonderfully funny. It's heartwarming. It's charming. It's beautiful. It's everything a good Pixar film should be.
I would like you to make that call out right now. What particular film are you talking of? Because
Transformers.
oh, there you go. There you go. Thank you.
I'll just clear my throat.
I was actually thinking of Transformers is a great
This example of that, but there are others. There are many times that great movies don't make the money they deserve, and bad movies make way more money than they deserve.
And just hearing about Despicable Me 4, which is catching me by surprise right now.
900 million
are loving going to the movies, at least in this month or past 2 months.
What is this second? It's still technically part of this. Well, second quarter, but now we're in the third quarter. It's going to be real good for the quarterlies on movie theaters.
And by the way, I should point this out too. Climbing up to the number 24 all-time spot. Check this out. Deadpool and Wolverine, which was number 1 at the box office again this weekend, is now at $2.26 billion. It passed Incredibles 2 and Fate of the Furious and Iron Man 3 to get into that number 24 spot. Again, by a mile now, the number 1 R-rated box office film of all time. And now at the number 24 spot. So again, congratulations to Inside Out 2. In the top 10 all-time grossing films, now the highest grossing animated film in history. What's the next animated film that can maybe compete with it?
Moana.
Maybe Moana?
Maybe.
But here's the thing. I bet it's going to be a movie that, like Inside Out 2, is one that we didn't think about. Because I thought Inside Out 2 was going to be big. I thought it was going to be a big hit. But nobody thought 1.6 billion.
I have a feeling, I have a sneaky suspicion that Inside Out 2 has been bargain therapy sessions for adults.
Oh, absolutely. It's so cathartic.
Not only that, I mean, it was released during a time where kids weren't in school. The subject matter is very, it relates to them.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these kids.
It relates to adults. It relates to teens. It relates to preteens.
But our viewing, I've never seen so many like even the kid right next to me, they were like 13, 14.
Yeah, there are a lot of teenagers in the theater.
I mean, I can imagine them going over and over and over again during their break.
You know why that is? Because the teenagers who were all flocking, you're right. I don't know. You don't, in an animated film, usually see that many teenagers there. These teenagers were kids when the first Inside Out came out.
Right.
And they had that wonderful memory of it. They grew up with, they are Riley. And so they felt the adults, there's so much in there for adults. Adults flock to it. Families flock to it. And again, congratulations to Pixar and to Inside Out 2 for now becoming the highest grossing animated film of all time. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. And PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks is the best way to get action on sports in most states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. You see, PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. And I was pleasantly surprised by just how quick and easy it was to get set up and registered and ready to go. Here's a couple of examples of picking your more or less. Tyreek Hill for more than 90 receiving yards, Dak Prescott for more than 263 passing yards, and CeeDee Lamb for more than 96 receiving yards. So guys, download the PrizePicks app today and use the code Campea and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code Campea on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. Question is for you guys. What do you think about it? And what do you think could be the next animated film to challenge for that title? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.